you want to do things right? To keep up with keeping your lives tight. Tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you want to truly succeed in attaining all in that which is your need? To be heard by the real answerer of all deeds, the true hero of all whom pleads. Who of you really want to bow down to the true King of Kings commanding the crown? To worship the one that ever rules alone, commanding everything of creation from the seat of its throne.
Good evening and welcome to an A.H.A.D moment of calm before the storm. I'm your host, Minister A.H.A.D. And with me, we have our panel always, Brother Fat Kill Abdul Aziz, Holy Apostle Dean Salim, and Holy Queen Mother Rabbi Salim. May I ease his peace and other blessings be about everyone's presence.
May I ease his peace and other blessings be about
Those in our studio audience, may I ease his peace and other blessings about your presence as well. Those in here and those who are tuning in, may the Lord's peace and other blessings about your presence as well. It's always a pleasure to be with this group of people, man, and the people in the audience, man, because like Easy give us a good spirits, man. We always come on sometimes, people watch this program, they say, I wonder what they're talking about. Behind the scenes is a bust. We have a lot of good times, but we always try to be serious and give forth our Easy's message. So with that being said, we're going to deal with the reality or the Lord of the path itself. Aisha sent down this way of life from the very beginning, from the time of the prophet Adam. And Aisha sent this way of life we call religion, but it never came with a name at different times. Many call it the path of the way, the path, the straight way, and different names. But then Aisha gave it to Prophet Muhammad, the name for they perfected for him, the religion was Islam. But the reality of the path in of itself, to come to the Lord of all the worlds, is what Aisha expresses through the many messengers at different times of the inner way, that people negate or neglect of those of the outer, of the religions of the outward. They only deal with the outer things, things that draw them to the material goods. It's not too much the good, which is Aisha itself. So with that, we're going to discuss that. Brother Fat Kid, Holy Queen, Holy Apostle.
May this peace and other blessings be offended about your presence.
May your presence as
smile
well.
during the show.
Yes, you may.
For
some reason, you're not ready, huh?
No, it's dealing with Lord Aisha is something that ultimately you got to recognize you're never really ready for. And knowing that, for me, being humbled, seeking to be humbled, and that this Lord, this unseen, unseeable, this
so let me ask
unseeable
you a
entity
question. How do you feel when people, you say good morning and how you doing? They say, I'm blessed. I just figured that'd break the ice a little bit.
What it is, people, we were having a good time before the show started. And that's why he say he's not ready. He say he's never ready with whatever. But I would presume, brother, that even in the time of Prophet Muhammad, when he spoke to his people, he said, "This is the path of the way to the peace."
Right.
You see, not so much just al-Islam. It's the
Right.
path of the way to the peace. Still the path of the way.
Right.
The path of the way, of course, being a phrase.
Right.
People coined it as, al-Islam.
Right.
The peace. We know Islam means supposedly the religion of the peace.
Right.
But it's for those who seek peace, and it's always been the path of the way for the most positive people in the world who seek to uphold a covenant or the contract that the Lord has given to humanity,
Right.
not just to a group of people, but to the whole of humanity. It says that we're supposed to be the vicegerents of the earth, meaning we are the deputies of the Lord to fulfill the contract of marshaling or patrolling the earth and making sure that all things on the earth is kept in its proper balance. That's with animals and, vegetation and what have you. But man being infected with the illness of the shaitan, the doer of evil, we have fallen, men have often fallen to that level where they do the opposite. They destroy
Right.
the earth and others of humanity in violation of the contract, the covenant of the Lord, and there entails we of so many generations of humanity has been destroyed. You know, and when and the answer to your question, Holy Queen Mother, which was I know was a joke, because people are always saying today it's fashionable now to say, for certain people to say I'm blessed. You know, somebody say how you know I'm blessed. Well, if you're alive, you blessed, but you could be cursed too. You know, and but the thing for us is not to look so much to what we think is a blessing, because in our judgment we make so many errors to try to identify what is a blessing.
Yeah.
Because what may be a person's blessing in their eyes may be the curse and the trial that's presented to them to appear as though it's a blessing. You know, for instance, young woman or young man come into some money, let's say $1 million. What's going on? I'm blessed. Are you sure? But the whole personality change.
Yeah.
You become haughty, arrogant, evil, mean, cruel. You understand? Hard-hearted.
Yeah.
You know, and then lose sight of humanity, the humane aspect of humanity. So where's your blessing at?
Right.
That money was a curse. It was a trial that was put on you that became as a curse. Because in the end, when you leave this flesh body and you go back to the judge that gave you that money, because most people in the world can't see that Allah is the giver of all things, and then it call you to account for what you did by what it gave you, then what you gonna do? You can't get the money up and pay your way out of the results of its rewards. Huh? Because you'll have nothing from this world but the memory. And the weight of what you did in your deeds and actions and your intentions. You know, which encompasses your thoughts as well as your physical actions.
Now, so you just expressed something that many people of religion, and people in general, but I mean, I was just religion because people think that they're good and all these things. But when you say when a person get that money, all the things that you spoke about, that are the unseen things that people don't address, get the money, now the heart change, become hard. Now, who looks at those things or a religion? Because to them, it's just the
material.
But they see the material goods. You know, so we talking about the path, and that goes back to the inner aspects. You know, like one thing you would share with us all the time. You know, whether a person drop $1 million or the diamond or the coal, to me they're the same. But the people, they said the diamond is worth more than, even though diamonds come from that, but they don't even look at the coal. I want those polished stone.
Yeah, well, let's back up a minute here.
Okay.
Is diamonds? Would you rather have $1 billion worth of diamonds or a coal house? I'm asking you that question.
Oh, okay. And now, really, I would have to have a cold house myself now.
Why?
Because I can heat up in the winter. I can't heat them diamonds up if it get cold or, you know.
I hear you answering in a intelligent and reasonable answer because it's a well thought out answer. But what if you have other means of keeping yourself warm?
Okay.
See, and the proper answer is whatever is most appropriate. What is it? See, if the world has gone into the dark ages, what is diamonds gonna do for you?
Nothing now. Nothing now. Right.
They would have no meaning to you.
Right.
That's why once upon a time you could go back into situations where people have been lost, like crashed in airplanes, and they was taking money and clothes and everything, burning it to keep warm because the value of it was they needed fuel. So it's like whatever appropriate for whatever you have, that's where the value is. That's why the Sufis say a diamond and a rock can have the same value. or a rock could be more worthy of your appreciation than a diamond or precious stone. Because you may need to build a house with rocks in a situation you in.
Right.
And one thing that I used to bless us with is to know that it's always two sides to everything. And a lot of people don't understand that. People look at the material things that they obtain as blessings. But you know, now with the economy going in the way that it's going, people have to really look at what they thought was a blessing. I mean, now people that have houses that can't pay the mortgage and getting ready to be evicted, at one time they thought that house was a blessing. They never thought about the house as being just a place so that they could raise their children or have a comfortable situation, but it was just a house.
Or a burden.
Or a burden.
Yeah, because houses are burdens.
Now you have a house in this day and time, that thing may be a curse. It may be something you want to set afire so you don't lose it all. Come on, let's be for real. You may want to go out there and set it afire so you could collect the insurance money so you don't, you know, because just think about this here. If your house going to foreclosure, every dime you paid into that is all wiped away. So the society feeds you this nonsense about having equity and things of that nature, but that stuff don't mean nothing if you lose everything. So it's like a game of chance. So is things really, you know, I used to bless us to really understand that you have to look at everything, and you have to look at it from all sides, you know, and in order to come up with a clear evaluation. And that would keep you from worshiping things other than A.H.A.D.
The beauty in what A.H.A.D give us as a community through myself is to look deeper than just at all sides. What it gives us is the intent to look at things through its eyes. That's where the greatest blessing is at, the wisdom. Because in looking at it through its eyes and going by its judgment, it sees everything from all sides, within and without, and give us the right way to go. You see, because even seeing things from all sides don't mean you get the wisdom enough to manifest with what you got to make it right, to make it good. You know, so it's so important for the people to understand that A.H.A.D, the Lord El, Amen, Christ, Brahman, is the one to be acknowledged, the one to be recognized, the one to be sought for guidance, for help, for everything of good. You see?
I would, Holy Queen Mother, to that question about the person saying that they're blessed. You know, I would think that then it comes to us, maybe more appropriately, that's, well, why do you think that you're blessed? In some way say, well, why do you say you're blessed? And let them open up to explain why they're blessed. Is they blessed because of material things or because of something that's more earnest to their being able to survive, or what, in other words, what is their value?
I could see you saying that.
And open, you know.
I could see you saying that, but at the same time, I could see myself. I say, how you doing? I'm blessed. I could see myself saying, let me get away from this person as fast as I can. Do I want to entertain conversation with this person? And they yelling out, I'm blessed? You know? Because see, somebody ask me how I'm doing, I got to think about it. There's a whole lot of things going on with me. I'm blessed over here. I got all this hell over here. You know, I'm thinking about the entirety of my being when somebody say, how are you doing? I'm not going to focus on just this one thing. So if I come into contact with somebody who's only focusing on one thing, I don't want to entertain any conversation with that person, because now I'm going to possibly have to sit down and start trying to teach an individual, a stranger. I don't have that kind of time, that patience. You understand? I don't want to get into that situation. Or their conversation, being that they thinking one-sided already, their conversation may spoil my day, may take me down. So they say I'm blessed. I said, well, peace be upon you. And keep it going. I don't care. You blessed? Cool, because I'm really involved in what's happening with me.
Now, people hearing that, you know, But the realization that he's manifesting now is that those who traverse on the path is always dealing with themselves. Like you were saying, you busy yourself. I hear you, but I got a whole world I'm dealing with that people do not want to address now. They don't want to deal with the whole inner aspect of their being, whether they're depressed or whatever they are, a state of mind they're in. They never touch or fathom. So it's so easy to sound, I'm blessed.
Yeah,
It's
well,
easy to throw that out there.
See, that's a fashionable
You know,
thing to say.
You can
today.
be depressed.
You know,
And
you got people
saying
people
those-
that you actually see is their life is like messed up, and they
Right.
walk running around talking about they blessed. They don't recognize their illnesses, man.
That's right.
You understand? See, we all have a certain aspect of mental imbalance in various times and places and ways and states of our lives that we always have to seek the balance, which is the Lord El, to put us right. And nothing is staying, no man is staying perfected.
Right.
That perfection, everything about perfection, about a human being, about a thing created, is wearing down, and it has to be reformed. Again and again and again. Right. So that's why we have to keep remembering the Lord El.
Right.
We have to keep remembering our originator, the one who is the power, the one who is the glory, the one who shine us up and keep us right in our way. You know?
That goes back to what I broke down for us in expressing to upraise and appraise the Lord El.
Yes.
Instead of I'm making prayer. Praying to the Lord for what? But if you appraise it, and Allah said remembrance is greater than the prayer. Remember, those who remember me much is those who have found favor with me, you know, because the course of our day, we are forgetful. Allah says in the Quran so beautifully, man is ever forgetful, ever unmindful of me. Now, people all the time say, do you remember the Lord all the time? And most people, they'll tell you, yeah. I said, I beg to differ. They lie.
Right.
You don't always remember the Lord all the time. You are forgetful in the state of you need to be reminded, called back to it. And part of that is what the path that he's explaining to us sends down to us is part of that mercy that he gives to us in remembrance of it, you know.
I think what people fail to realize is people think that if they call Allah names throughout the course of the day, they have remembered Allah.
Right.
But that's not it. It's that the remembering is the reconnecting.
Yes.
And that's you know what I'm saying? I could say Allah, I could sing Allah all day long. But am I connected to what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they have to understand that remembering Allah. See, that you have the zikr and everything. People, someone having explained, you have people with the zikr and they Allahu Akbar, go through all that ritual and whatever. But in that, are they reconnecting? You know, that's the thing they have to ask themselves, because Allah said, remember me much. If they look up the word remember, they know that remember means to rejoin, to reconnect.
So back right.
So that, you know, we all fall in error of not being
Well, let
staying
me just
connected.
add this. Let me just add this to what she's saying. What she's saying is basically that in the remembrance of the Lord El, in the remembrance of the originator of our lives, it want us to remember it at the highest degree. Not the remembrance at just so much at the lowest degree where we might call his name and remember that we supposed to be worshiping it. You know? But it want us to rejoin unto it at the highest degree where we recognize that we are the illusions and it is the real. We are the reflections of its imaging of us. You see? And that the life power is truly in it. And it manifests its life's power through us, what it does to us and through us by the actions that it manifests in our lives, in our being, which makes us be what it wants us to be. You know? Now, it does that on every level of our being, from the flesh to the soul. And we're locked in our minds as human beings, as men or women. We're locked in that mind in every level, every stage of life. Physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, ethereal. You understand?
Yes,
We
sir.
just gone. Astral, we still locked in that mind, and it is the manifester of our beings,
Right.
giving us life in the mind, huh? Which we consider our own,
Yeah.
huh? Which in reality it belongs to it. So it is its own.
Right.
It is the owner, huh?
Mm-hmm.
But it gives us the loan that it says, who's going to give me a goodly
Good
loan?
loan,
Who's
right.
going to return that loan?
Mm-hmm.
You know? One thing about humanity, just like when we first started off and you talked about Allah named the religion Islam.
Right.
In the Holy Quran, it didn't say I named the religion Islam for you today.
Right.
It says, this day I have perfected in you, Muhammad.
Right.
This day I have perfected in you Islam.
Right.
Okay? The peace. I have perfected in you the peace. My peace.
Right.
My way to the peace. My aspect of the peace. My realm that I put you in
okay.
of the peace.
Right.
Huh? And there's no greater blessing than you could get than the peace. Because in that peace, you have all the things that you need. Because peace encompasses happiness, security,
right.
Safety, comfort, love, so many goodly things that keeps you with a balance.
Right.
You understand? And keep you in sight of that unseen thing, recognizing it by its voice and by its actions upon everything that is. And that's what people don't deal with, and that's what some people, like in the religion of Islam, have purposely tried to cover.
Yeah.
You got so many Muslims running around talking about all these kafirs, these covers of the truth,
Right.
and they read a book that's just full of coverings.
I'm
The
telling
Holy
you,
Quran
right.
and its translations.
Right.
The translations is full of coverings. And they like, you got an attitude with somebody. You should have an attitude with the one who translated this
Right,
book.
Right.
The book of Allah.
Right.
That's who you should have the attitude with. That's who you should be saying is a coverer. That's the one you should stand against and fight in the way of Allah
Right.
to try to make right in the minds of your brethren.
Mm-hmm.
And stop going out here pointing your finger at other people, lowly people, your peers, and making them your enemies when you are the greatest enemy of yourself. Huh?
Right. Oh yeah, I know one of the greatest phrases that Allah sent down in the Quran, and from this conversation, now he's just showing it now. Many people have a misunderstanding when they say, when a thought or a sight from Satan comes, you seek refuge in Allah.
Mm-hmm.
People would say it all the time, but what is seeking refuge really? See, people say I seek refuge in Allah. Going back to the Holy Queen was saying about, I remember Allah's name.
Mm-hmm.
When the trial come upon me, Allah help me. But is that really seeking the refuge in Allah for real, or is you just going through the phrase? Because it's people, I hear people all the time, I seek refuge in Allah.
Yeah, you could say so many things that it becomes fashionable,
Right.
and more as it becomes more fashionable, more mediocre,
Right.
it becomes less valuable,
Like the person
less
that-
weighty.
Like the person that
Yeah.
But you said something.
Mm-hmm.
When Shaitan come upon you, seek refuge of Allah in Allah,
Allah, right.
huh? And you said, who knows when they seeking that refuge? When do they know that Shaitan has come upon them?
That's what I'm. That's true.
If you don't have refuge in Allah already,
yeah.
and a voice come to you and you say, oh, Allah, protect me from this devil, oh, have mercy on me. And it might be the angel Gabriel or Michael or Metatron.
Right.
Trying to speak to you, and oh, Allah, this devil talking to me.
There's one devil you might. One devil you might want to seek refuge to is that devil that speaks to you in your own voice. You're sitting around there with your own ideas about doing something, and you know it's wrong, and you know from past teachings, I'm going to go after this. I'm going to go after this pot of gold. I'm going to go after this satisfaction or something like that. At that point,
Well, I'm kind of confused because you said when
just,
that devil speaks in your own voice. Which devil is that?
That devil, that's yourself. Though,
Oh,
I'm saying.
okay.
That devil.
That was.
That devil. Oh, no.
It's
Yeah.
all, sometimes
Right.
it seems like he be trying to escape some things, you know. You better look out for that devil that speaks to you in your own voice.
Right.
He borrowed your
Yeah.
voice and
Yeah.
he's speaking to you.
Yeah, that's the one.
He's
That's
ventriloquist, huh?
Yeah, that's the one that's talking to you the most. And no,
Yeah, so you
ventriloquist,
need,
yeah.
that's why you need
Yeah.
to seek refuge to understand that, you know, Fakir. Seek refuge in Allah all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't have no break. You know, that's where people make their mistake. You hear them say it all the time. I seek refuge in Allah, right? The shaitan is upon me. When is the shaitan not upon you? Allah said it very clear, the devil never rests.
Yeah.
The devil never stops. The devil promised that it would never stop. I will come before them from behind them on every
all
side.
Right.
And people say, well, I watch myself on in the front and the back,
Yeah.
right, you know, above and below. I don't let that devil come nowhere on any side. What about the inside? Huh? They watch out for every side except the inside. Where that devil? I'm looking out for that devil. That devil right there with you. You go, I'm looking out for that devil. I'm looking out for that devil. That devil right there. And you thinking it's just the angel on the right, the good angel, right? Devil on the right side of you. Devil on the left side of you.
Who that say me? You say me, say me. That's
You know? Hey, man.
yeah.
People swear they got it right, man. They say,
I
I'm
know.
going up in here into the church and I'm going to praise the Lord and I'm going to get it right. And they come out acting all snooty and stuff because everybody else ain't going to church with them.
Yeah.
Huh? They done went in there and prayed with the devil. And came hugging the devil. Don't even know the devil got his arm. They, why that brother pimping like that?
He blessed.
It's something that you say that because yesterday my son said to me that somebody at his job was let us pray for them. And he got so hysterical. He was like, pray! I ain't praying for them. I can't be praying for people. And she said, what's wrong with you? I would pray for you. He said, no, don't you ever pray for me. And I laughed. I said, boy, you was acting like that. He said, they just don't understand. I don't want to pray for them, and I don't want them to pray for me. He said, you ever start praying for someone, then all of a sudden you start thinking about all the things they did to you before, you know? He said, you be like, Lord, forgive this. That nigga.
That's true. We're gonna hold on and continue this conversation. You know, this goes out to those out there in our Brooklyn audience. Want this program continue for part 2 of this conversation. You know, this has been an I Have moment. But Holy Queen, as you were saying,
yeah, you know, it's hilarious, but it's serious.
oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They set us up, you know?
Yeah.
And they make things seem so righteous, but how you gonna pray for someone else that you don't even know? You know what I'm saying? He said, I don't know you. I work with you.
But who propagate that? Where did that come from? Where that practice?
I think that comes from the Christian,
I mean,
the Christian teaching.
It's not just the Christian. It was
Muslims
people who
that said,
came
"I'll make
before
dua,
them.
make
Before
dua
them too,
for
yeah.
you
And people that came since them. It's just people. It's just their way, man, that they, you know, like a person, you know they hating you, say, I'm going to pray for you.
Yeah.
And you get the shrills like a witch just said, I'm going to pray for you. What kind of praying? P-R-E-Y?
Back to right.
I'm going to pray for you. So, you know, so I can have you devoured?
Yeah.
Hey, man.
That's true.
You know, that's why I'm suspicious of that word pray.
Who of you want to do things right? To keep up with keeping your lives tight. Tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you